Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
It has to start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? What better time than now?
It's here. It's here. We're here. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant. I'm Aslan. He's Corey. You already know that. But we just said it again. Corey, it's here. It's arrived. Game week. Excited. I am. You. Describe it. What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling, butterflies starting to form in the stomach. I'm just kidding. No, I am excited, though. It is exciting that that football season is here. But as you were talking, I was wondering, are we going to do a show next Monday? Probably not, right?
Dude.
I'm not doing one on a holiday.
Actually, I didn't really think we probably have to. This is what I was thinking about.
I don't. I vehemently disagree that we have to.
Here's me being the.
It's going to be hard enough doing one on Tuesday.
Oh, that one is just going to be the worst. That is going to be the worst because I can't even hang out with my brother and my friends after the game. We're going to probably do a stand-up after the game's over, you and I, on Doak Campbell in Doak Campbell Stadium on Bobby Bowden Field. You're going to have to write out a column or two. Then we're going to have to record the show. Then we're going to have to put it all together. And it's going to be 3:30 in the morning. Everybody's going to be home and done for the night. And then I'm going to be like, okay, all right, cool. Willie Taggart's won his first game as head football coach at Florida State University, and I'm just going to go to bed now.
And they're practicing in 5 hours.
No.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their schedule is. I assume they have the day off after a game, but it is a weird week anyway because they got such a short turnaround.
Yeah, no, they sent us a schedule. They're not going to be practiced. There's nothing on Tuesday.
Okay.
Thank God. Thank goodness. I should double check that before I say. Yeah, no availability. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Good stuff. All right. They're going to win their first game, right, Corey?
I mean, I'm leaning that direction. Sure. I like their chances. Certainly not a guarantee. Virginia Tech's a quality opponent, but I do like their chances for that first game. But I'm terrible at predictions. Everybody knows that.
All right. Well, we'll dive into Virginia Tech probably tomorrow. We'll start talking about them. I'll start doing some scouting. Use my keen eye to see what Justin Fuente will be bringing to the table when Virginia Tech comes to town. Also, this week, or actually I think on Monday because of the game, there's going to be the sod talk going down, Corey. You know how they have the sod cemetery next to the gates of the practice field, the Al J. Dunlap practice fields?
Yeah, sure.
The sod talk speakers are going to be Peter Warwick and a Marvin Jones.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And we're going to have those guys.
That's got to be the best sod talk in history.
Come on. Until Jameis comes back and makes a triumphant arrival. Those guys are actually going to be on the program later this week. We got to hammer some details down, but we're going to have Peter Warwick and Marvin Jones right here on Wake Up War Chant later this week to talk about their upcoming appearances in Tallahassee and maybe get their feelings on the hashtag Taggart era. The Marvin Jones interview is going to be all you, buddy. I'll literally be like, hey, Marvin, I'm Aslan, and this is the last you're going to hear of me. Corey, take over. Yeah. And then you can just go ahead.
I'll just talk to him for 30 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it'll beat me.
All right, that's exciting. I'm actually looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, and
Hey, kids, I don't know what our demo is for this show. I think we span many ages. But if you're not familiar with either one of those, man, and I know you're familiar with them if you're a Florida State fan in the sense that you've heard the name, you've seen the numbers. But YouTube has a bunch of highlight videos, especially Peter Warwick. Not that he was any better than Marvin Jones, because Marvin Jones was incredible. But I don't think there's as many highlight clips of Marvin Jones' time at Florida State. Plus, he's a linebacker. It's a little different than a wide receiver return man. But go watch Peter Warwick highlights. They are ridiculous. It's incredible how good that guy was.
How good was Marvin Jones as a linebacker? Just like the way he played the linebacker position, was it as good or better than how Jameis played quarterback? Tell me, Papa.
Man, yeah, kind of. And he was, you could say that. You know, it's hard to compare, but he was as much of a phenom because he started as a true freshman, like the second game of the year, and led them in tackles. I think he led them in tackles the season opener of his true freshman season, even though he didn't start. And then by the end of the year, he was their best defensive player. I guess him and Buckley. But, man, he was incredible. Just some guys have that instinct. Like, what's his name with the Panthers from Boston College, the Keekly guy.
Yeah.
Just some guys just have an instinct, a knack for being around the football and making plays, like a Ray Lewis. And Marvin Jones was like that, man. He was just an incredible college football player. He finished 4th in the Heisman voting as a middle linebacker. When has that ever happened? And it's not like he had a bunch of pick sixes and fumble returns, created a bunch of turnovers. He just was always the best player on the field, whatever field he was on. He was phenomenal. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Other than, Jameis had a redshirt year, but Marvin Jones was a absolute phenom.
Was he in New York for the Heisman as a number 4 guy? Was he actually up there?
It might have been one of those where they only took 3. They only invited 3. But I don't remember him being there. But, he won every other award. He won the Butkus. He won the Lombardi, I think. He was a 2-time unanimous All-American or consensus All-American. He didn't have a terrible NFL career. He just battled injuries. But he would have been he was an all-time great defensive player. You literally could make the case that he was the best defensive player they've ever had. And I know all about Deion and all the other guys, and Ron Simmons and Boulware and Renard and all the guys. Marvin Jones was just an incredible college football player.
Yeah. So, again, Marvin Jones.
I don't even know who to compare him to.
Manti Te'o, the great Manti Te'o.
Yeah, just that Marvin didn't have quite the heartache that Manti had to deal with in college. Marvin didn't have to go through the ordeal of having a fake girlfriend that fake died of fake cancer. So, I give Manti maybe a little more props because he had to deal with so much at Notre Dame.
All right, right on. So, again, folks, Marvin Jones, Peter Warwick, they'll be the guest speakers at Sod Talk, which is before the opener against Virginia Tech on Monday. We'll have them at some point this week. We'll hammer out the details. We'll let you know tomorrow on Tuesday. All right, Corey, so we'll be out at practice later this morning. We get the 3 captains who were named over the weekend. Alec Eberle on offense, Ricky Aguayo on special teams. You want to pick me up here? Who's the defense? I don't even remember who the defensive captain was.
I'm not picking you up because I don't remember either.
All right, so I'm going to have to pick up my phone.
Taylor, was it Levante? Was it DeMarcus Christmas?
You would think it would be DeMarcus Christmas, but it's going to be Brian Burns, which makes even more sense.
Right. Well, that makes sense too.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of good numbers. So we'll get to speak to those 3 gentlemen as well as the head football coach today, and there's going to be a viewing period. Not sure just quite how much, but they had their scrimmage Saturday. It was closed to the media. Not a lot of details have leaked out. Apparently, if you judge by Instagram and social media, they were really excited. DeAndre was smiling and dancing, so take that for what it's worth, everybody. Apparently, his knee is 100% because of the way he was dancing on social media, according to the thread on warchant.com.
Well, and I think obviously some of that is that it's the official end of camp.
Yeah.
Like camp's over. Now it's just the game week practice stuff, so I'm sure they were all celebrating that. But maybe they had a really good scrimmage too. It's closed, and I mean it was straight closed. Like I don't even think staffers were allowed there. So we have no idea who looked good, who didn't, who played, who didn't. I mean, I can make up stuff. LeBourne, I think, had 9 carries for 7 touchdowns. And Tamorian Terry had, I think, 5 touchdowns. And I also think Levante Taylor had 4 pick sixes. Right. So do with all that information what you will. But if they're going to close scrimmage completely, I feel like we're allowed to make up stuff, right?
Certainly. That's the way it works, right? Find fire with fire. They had the kickoff luncheon on Friday, which, happened.
Yeah, how was that, buddy? I didn't get to go. How was it?
Yeah, you jealous was one of the words you didn't want to use for me being able to go.
And I still wouldn't. I wouldn't use that. But first off, what did they serve? What was the meal?
Four River Smokehouse. There was lots of food, but I made breakfast before I went, and they didn't have a table for us in the media. And I don't like eating. I don't like standing and eating off of a plate. So my silent protest was to not eat. I just worked, grinded out there.
You showed them.
Yeah, put that in your pipe.
They won't make that mistake again.
Don't ever cross me. Yeah, real quick story before getting in there. This has nothing to do with football. Sorry, everybody. So I'm going in there, and as I'm walking up, I park in the lot that's kind of next to the actual basketball facility, more so than the Civic Center. And as I'm walking up, I see Ira coming in from the main parking lot, and he's got my pass. So I'm walking up, and a security guard's like, hey, you can come on ahead and get your stuff looked at. I'm like, I just want to make sure. I'm like, hold on, sir. I just want to make sure that my buddy is walking this correct way. So I do see Ira's making his way towards me. He's got my pass. I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and get my bag checked out, and it's a young lady this time, and she's like, all right, can you open up your bag? I'm like, I open it up, and she just looks at it, and if you've ever seen the camera bag that I have, people, there's a whole bunch of stuff in it, and she just looks at it for 2 seconds. She's like, okay, you're good. And then this young African-American male comes up behind her, is like, how do you know he's good? She's like, I just know. And then I go to him, I'm like, whoa, what's wrong? Are you swimming because I'm Middle Eastern? Is that how it works? The Middle Eastern guy's got to get his stuff all emptied out and everything, and he just totally froze. He was like, dude, my bad. And I was like, I'm just kidding with you. It's fine, man. Do what you got to do. Check it out. And then he actually carries my bag. He's like, all right, let me grab your bag for you. You can't walk through the metal detector with it. He's like, I'll give it to you on the other side. And I walk through it. I'm fine. He hands me the bag. He's like, hey, by the way, man. I'm like, what's up? He's like, good joke. And I'm like, all right, man, right on. So
there you go.
Yeah. So
did you tell him that, hey, listen to Wake Up War Chant?
I did.
Tell this story on air.
I did. He's like, all right, man. He's like, I do listen to you guys every single day. I'm their biggest fan. I'm like, sweet, cool, rock and roll.
That is, you mentioned that though, is like, it's mostly, I was going to say it's hit or miss, like how vehemently they check our bags, how strenuously they check our bags.
Yeah.
But it's mostly miss. Usually, and I'm not talking just at Florida State, it's everywhere. Because we have to, every time we go, heck, every time anybody goes into a sporting event now, they get a bag check. But the media, there's always a bag check person. And, there's 5 different zippers on my laptop bag. And I'll just open the main one to show her that I do have a laptop, or him that I do have a laptop. And they're like, okay, good. And they put a little tag on it. It's like I kind of wish they would be maybe a little more strenuous in how they look through a bag. Maybe a little more detail oriented, and just instead of taking my word for it. Although it's nice to get through there real quick.
Yeah.
But, it's not the best security, I wouldn't say.
All right, well, that's your opinion on things. I'm not going to co-sign that. But anyhow, yeah, it was good, man. I've never been to one of these kickoff luncheon things, but a lot of good energy. The players were on both sides of the floor there at the Civic Center, so I was kind of bouncing back between the two sides. But they were all there sitting next to, I'm guessing donors, boosters. The famous guy who called out Jimbo for being loyal or not loyal at the final call-in show, the one that got, escorted out and it was really ugly. He was actually there sitting next to Janarius Robinson. And he's got a name. He's a real human being and stuff. And I need to find out his name. I think it's Mike, maybe. But
well, just guess. I mean, there's a good chance it's Mike. That's a popular name.
Yeah, so Michael, he was there. He was there. That was cool to see. But DeAndre was schmoozing with everybody. DeAndre was taking selfies with grandmothers, and he looked very happy and excited. James Blackman was also taking photos. I saw with him and Cam Akers. Yeah, Gene Deckerhoff MCs it. David Coburn, the interim athletics director, made a small speech. I think one of the people from Seminole Boosters made a speech, and President John Thrasher was up there, threw a barb at Jimbo. I forgot what it was, but he poked fun at the coach being at Texas. Everybody got a good laugh out of it, and then Willie came up, and I think Ira wrote the column, he wrote a column kind of about, I guess the biggest sort of takeaway was, I don't know what the feeling was like going into last season for the team. I spoke to somebody who did go to the luncheon last year, and they were talking about they were sitting at a table with a couple of the players that are now no longer with the program, and they were like rolling their eyes and making fun of Jimbo the entire time. And when I remember I heard that like a few months ago. I'm like, really? Like I always thought that these guys looked at Jimbo like he's like the ultimate authority. Like we bow down, we cower in your presence. Head football coach Jimbo Fisher. But to hear that, I'm like, well, maybe maybe this whole my whole theory that he was this really well-liked, well-respected head coach, at least within the locker room, wasn't the case. But I mean, all the players intently looking at Willie the whole time, and Willie made a point of it to say, listen, I came here and I heard a whole bunch of stuff about the way these players were, the way they were going to be, and the way they had been, and all of it was wrong. They're all a bunch of great kids. Goes out and then, before he wraps things up, says, listen, I want to say this in front of everybody here with all my players here. He's like, I love you guys. I can't wait to go to battle with you. And we're just getting started. And it's just, I don't know. That was, everybody loves the guy, right? And then he's kind of going ahead and reciprocating and letting these players know that he's got their back, which I think was a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, it's going back to the Jimbo thing, it's kind of hard to know what a team really thinks of him. There's always going to be a couple of kids that don't like their coach. No matter how, there's going to be a couple kids that I'm sure were rolling their eyes at Taggart that don't buy in. I mean, you're coaching 100 of them, so a few of them are going to be not into it. But I don't know what the mood of the whole team was when it came to Jimbo, at least early on last season. I think a lot of them, and rightfully so, thought of him as a means to an end. They want to get to the league. They want to make money. They want to change the generational wealth of their families. Jimbo Fisher is the guy that can help them there. So they got to put up with a lot of stuff. Granted, he's not the easiest guy to play for, but he's a means to an end. I think that's how most of the people viewed Jimbo. I don't know that he was necessarily close with anyone. I don't know that there was like a lot of warm embraces with him and those players. I do think he cared about them in the sense that he wanted to better their lives and get them out. Now, obviously, it wasn't it wasn't all selfless. Like, he wanted something out of them too. But I do think I've always thought he cared about his players. But I think he cared about making them a lot of money and helping them out. And if they went to school, okay. But some of those guys, he just wanted to make. He knew that their best chance was at the NFL, and he wanted to help them get there. And quite frankly, the most disappointing part of the end of his tenure was what happened in the classroom. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand how something like that can happen under your watch, where you're the second to worst Power 5 team in the country when it comes to APR, and that was under his watch. And there's no excuse for that. And I do think Taggart will get that turned around. But if my man goes 7-5, it ain't going to matter how well they do in the classroom. Nobody's going to care. We all know that.
Right. All right, let's start making some predictions. Let's talk about football. We'll do that right after this. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Wake up! I'm Aslan. He's Corey. It's Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's game week. We finally made it. Can you believe it? It seemed like the other day we were counting down like number 63, and here we are. The Taggart era is moments away, it feels like. Virginia Tech ranked 20th in the nation, Florida State 19th. Looking at the bookmakers, the folks in Vegas, it looks across the board, Florida State a 7-point favorite, Corey. No way they lose this. I can't wrap my head. I cannot envision a world in which Florida State loses to Virginia Tech.
Well, that's weird. You saw this team lose a lot last year.
All right, why are you bringing me down, man?
I'm just saying. There's plenty of ways they can lose. Turn it over, don't get any stops. They're young on defense. They're actually pretty young on offense. Brand new system. It could be ugly. It's certainly not a guaranteed win. They do have a lot. They have more talent than Virginia Tech, though. Let's put it that way. And I think one of Virginia Tech's starting defensive tackles I saw on Twitter on Sunday, they only expect him to play maybe 10 or 15 snaps because he's still recovering from a knee injury. So that's another guy on that defense that started last season that won't be playing at all or much at all against Florida State this season.
Over-unders at 57 points. That feels a little big number. I'll take the under on that.
That seems like a lot, man, doesn't it?
I'll take under on that one.
I mean, that would too. 57, really?
Yeah. The win.
So 38-21, something like that, or 35-30. That seems like a crazy big number.
Yeah, that's what they're calling for. What do we need to learn, Corey, to bring you on to my irrational Kool-Aid drunk? No way they're losing. What do you need to learn in the next 6 days that you'll be like, okay, I don't feel this. I don't see them losing either. Is there anything that we can learn in the next 6 days?
No, I don't think so. This is just, we're at the finish line of preseason, baby. That's all I care about. We see the end line. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's almost here. There's absolutely nothing we can learn other than Virginia Tech announcing that their starting quarterback is hurt. There's nothing we can learn, I don't think, that would have me feel any differently about this game. I do like Florida State's chances. I think they should win, but it's those season openers, man. They're always hard to predict, and this is life for Florida State for the next half decade at least. Seemingly, is you're always going to be starting with a real team, a real opponent. Where if there's going to be a lot of questions that you have to answer right away against a good team, so it's hard to know. It's hard to imagine what could be told to us in the next 6 days that would have me on the positive side. I mean, if we were told, hey, Cam Akers is out and Terry's out and DJ Matthews isn't right, if we heard all that stuff in the negative, then that could change my opinion. But as far as hearing anything positive from the coaching staff, no, not really. Now we're to the point where it's like, all right, go out and prove it. We know who's done well in preseason camp. We know all about Keyshawn Helton and Tamorian Terry and Declan Brooks, Jaden Woodby, Burns. We know all about those guys, Taylor. But now it's time to go prove it. And this next week's just practice. Just practice, man. We're talking about practice, Haslan.
That's what they
We're not talking about a game.
That's what they want to hear, though. That's what they want to hear. Yeah, I don't know. Is it paralysis by analysis? Is just not the fact that it's in Tallahassee. They're going to have the emotional edge. They have better athletes. The end. Like, I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. You can talk about Keyshawn Helton coming on and, this true freshman looking really good. I mean, I don't know if Keyshawn Helton's going to get 6 catches for 80 yards this game and the next 2 games, the next 3 games, however. But, like, that's not a guy that I'm pinning my hopes on. I know you didn't say that either, but I just feel like the 5 guys they have on the offensive line that we've seen that practiced last week, if they can make it through 60 minutes of football we're assuming it's probably going to be DeAndre Francois that we'll probably hear today. It's going to be named the starting quarterback. With Cam Akers running the ball, Tamori and Terry out wide. But I guess I don't know. Who else is going to be? I mean, Nooney's good, and then Keith Gavin out there. So even if DJ Matthews isn't 100% right and Keyshawn Helton gets a little bit nervous under the bright lights on a huge game, I just still feel that's a pretty good lineup going out there, at least against Virginia Tech's defense. And we can look at the other side of it in a little bit. But ultimately, I think that's a pretty good offensive line. That's an above-average quarterback. Even if it's James Blackman, I think that's an above-average quarterback. And you have an excellent running back, and you've got average to potentially really good receivers out there. That's why I feel good about it. And it's at home. Come on, man. Join us. Join us, Corey. Come on.
Yeah.
Take the step.
Hey, I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. Get excited. Be excited. It's the first game in a new system, and I just don't expect it to run 100% smoothly. That just does not happen. You're facing a Bud Foster defense, and on the other side of the ball, you're facing a Justin Fuente offense, and I think he's a good coach, and he's going to have some wrinkles that they haven't prepared for. I think it's a talented defense, but it's a very inexperienced defense, and it's a tough ask to go up against Justin Fuente on that side of the ball. That said, over the course of 4 quarters, 60 minutes, Florida State does have better players, and they should make a few more plays, especially because it's going to be more plays in the game. So they should be able to maybe distance themselves late in the second half. But, man, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. I like Florida State's chances, but we have not seen this defense. We have not seen this offense against a real defense. So until we see it, it's hard to get too pumped up. Talk to me next Tuesday, my man.
Come on,
and then
Corey.
I'll be all about it. I'll be all on board the 2018 Seminole train.
All the practices you've watched, all the countless hours of interviews you've conducted, you got to have some baseline of stuff that makes you feel a certain way, or you don't care about that. You don't care about what's happened in the last 3 months, the last 6 months. It all goes out the window on Monday night. Like that, you don't want to have any calibration of expectations or hopes before then.
No. Nope. Season openers, man, they're hard.
So this is going to be the toughest week. This will be the toughest week of my career. This is the toughest week of my career because this is what everybody's been hoping for, and nobody's bringing the juice besides me right now. Of course, so this is going to be the hardest week of my career, and then otherwise from here on out, then we have things to draw on, and then that's when the coracle will really hit a stride, and everything will be in harmony.
How long did you live in Mississippi?
4 years.
And you're going to say you didn't have a tougher week than this? 4 years in Mississippi,
nice. And
God knows I love Mississippi. But where in Mississippi did you live?
Jackson, the capital. Come on.
The whole time?
Whole time. Yep.
Oh, where'd you live in Alabama?
Dothan. Oof.
Okay, yeah. See what I'm saying, man? You've had tougher weeks in your career. Okay. I'm not buying it. Okay. I'm not buying it. And I'm excited to see what happens. I'm just not prepared to say that I think it's going to be 40-20 or 50-10 or anything like that. But I'm more excited. I'm really excited about the start of this season. And I think Florida State fans are too. Not about they're going to win 11 or 12 games. I just want to see what it looks like and how good these players are. I'm genuinely excited to see the product on Monday night.
All right. Well, let's talk more about it.
How was that? That was better, right?
Yeah, whatever. We'll be right back. I'm going to get Corey to talk about a football game that hasn't happened yet, I promise. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Corey Clark, senior writer, columnist for WarChant.com. Myself, Aslan Hajavani, director of digital media. It's 97.9 Spin Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant. It's game week. Taggart era. First game. All right, Corey. I'm going to try to, elicit conversation from you here. I'm with you.
All right,
listen,
let's do it.
Listen, I'm excited. I think maybe I'm just excited because I have to be excited because no one's tuning in right now to listen to just two guys be totally practical and rational about a football game. So
right.
I have to play that role for the people. It's for the people, everything that we do here on the program. But I'm with you. I don't think Florida State's going to run away with it. I don't think Florida State's going to win 38-7 or 28-3. I don't think it's going to be any sort of one-sided, just absolute beatdown. I just think ultimately they'll win the game. I mean, what are the things that if it goes wrong, like is the offense going to sputter for too long? Will it be the defense just can't make stops? I'm trying to envision how this can go wrong. I don't think the offense is going to be perfect from the jump. I do think that offense will struggle at times, but I just think ultimately with that offensive line, if they can't find things in the passing game, if for whatever reason DeAndre's off, or if it's James that's going to be the quarterback, if he's off, I just feel like the running game's enough to get things going. They're always going to be able to lean on that. And then when Virginia Tech sells out on that, guys like Nooney and Tamori and Terry will be able to make plays because they're going to get a little more space and a little less, pressure on them in the secondary. So, that's how that's where my optimism springs from. But where can this just go wrong? Could it just be false starts and they can't handle their own tempo? What goes wrong?
Well, I think it's the things that you always wonder about going wrong. I think it's penalties and turnovers. For sure. Those are things you can't predict, but those change games. The thing that I worry about for Florida State more than the offense, obviously, I worry about the defense. I think you're going up against a team that runs fast. Now, they're not going to be able to go as fast-paced as they would like because they're on the road. But they like to go quick, and you do have a lot of inexperience in the back seven, a ton of inexperience. So are they going to be on the same page? If you blow a couple of coverages and give them easy touchdowns, we've seen that before, heaven knows, guys running free for 50 or 60-yard touchdowns, then you put yourself behind the eight ball, and you just wonder if there are going to be some breakdowns with a new system with all these new guys. On the flip side, Virginia Tech has as many new guys on defense as Florida State does, but they've all been our new starters, but they've all been in the system. They didn't change the system. So that's where I think maybe they have a bit of an advantage as far as just both teams have inexperienced defenses, but those guys that are starting on Monday night will all have been in that system for at least a year or two. Meanwhile, Florida State's guys have been in the system for 7 or 8 months. That said, I'm not expecting that to happen. I'm not saying that is going to happen. I do think Florida State's defensive line, the front four, if they're healthy, will give Virginia Tech plenty of problems. But the things that I would be worried about is the defensive side of the ball and breakdowns and miscues, and you just want to make them earn their points. Don't give them wide open 60 or 70-yard touchdowns where you just break down and a guy runs free. Much like Alabama's touchdown in the opener last year, even though the Florida State defense played great, you gave them a free touchdown because the safety was nowhere to be seen. You just can't have those kind of miscues. That's the thing I would worry about the most.
We don't watch enough football maybe. We're so focused on, obviously, Florida State. I don't know how many other teams, it happens to other teams, but I just feel like, I know there's so much, are we still haunted by the ghosts of Charles Kelly and these past defenses that, I don't think, a lot of teams allow a lot of points to be scored on a Saturday. Defenses just are at a disadvantage these days. But I don't remember seeing a lot of highlights on, whatever, ESPN College Scoreboard, whatever it is, the show they do at the end of the night, where it's guys running wide open 50 yards down the field and catching bombs. That doesn't seem to be what makes offenses go. It's just the amount of volume of plays they run and just the way the rules are with pass interference and targeting that just makes the offenses be able to go better. So, I'm not worried about Florida State just blowing assignment after assignment because I never saw a lot of it, I don't think, in the last few years other than covering Florida State. And I just think with the new coordinator, those things are hopefully a thing of the past. I mean, that's what we did all this for, right? That's why we got rid of the guy who won a national championship and started from scratch. So it can't happen. That's my.
I mean, I wouldn't say Florida State got rid of that guy, did they?
No. All right. Whatever. Fine. All right. Let's attack it from this way then, Corey. Let me try this then. Okay. So what is your biggest? I don't want to say concern. Like, what do you think might be the? I don't want to say weakness either, but what's the concern on the offensive side of the ball? Like, give me like a particular position. I mean, I don't want to hear turnovers. Like, is it receivers? Like, out of receivers, backs, quarterback play, offensive line?
No. Obviously, offensive line.
Really?
They're loaded at the skill positions. Obviously, it's offensive line. If Francois or Blackman or whoever, I agree. I think it's going to be 12. But if it's whoever it is, if they're running for their lives or they're getting strip sacked because they don't see the guy, that's the issue. That's the main. Florida State has really good receivers. They're inexperienced, but they're good. They're talented, and we know what those running backs can do. But the offensive line, if they get moved around, if they get dominated, Florida State won't win the game. And I don't think they're going to get dominated, but that to me is the key to everything. The quarterback's good enough. We know that. And we know the receivers and running backs, Virginia Tech is going to have a hard time matching up with those guys. But if the front five can't block them up, then it won't much matter. So that's I think is the position for sure that you worry about. And quite frankly, being real specific, it's the two tackles. And I think Landon Dickerson is a very good offensive lineman. This is his first time he's ever played tackle in college. And same thing with the other guy. You have two tackles who are starting at that position for the first time. So that's who I'm going to be watching the most to see how they handle it, how they do. I sound like a Debbie Downer, man.
No,
I'm all doom and gloom. Come on, guys, wake up. It's game week. Florida State.
It's roller
6 days from now. Are you kidding me? We're here. We made it. I'm excited. Don't listen to me. Don't get it twisted. And I'm excited. Aslan asked me a question. I answered it. I didn't like the question, but I still had to answer it. But trust me, folks, I'm excited. I'm ready to see this thing. I think they're going to hang half 100 on the Hokies.
All right, we're going to bring Corey back to heel, get him back focused and dialed up. There's more things I want to talk about matchup-wise. What could go wrong? What could go right? We'll talk about it next right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio's Wake Up War Chant.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Under the lights, new chapter to our history. Florida State dynasty forever in our memory. We celebrate the victories with lethal simplicity.
It's a football show, and it's football season, so hopefully it'll get better. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant. I'm Aslan. He's Corey. Talking Knowles. That's what we do against Virginia Tech. I happen to disagree with you from the previous segment, Corey. I have irrational confidence in this offensive line for whatever reason. Plus, I just think about the fact that, okay, so DeAndre Francois will be running for his life. What difference did it make in 2016 when he was the ACC Freshman of the Year and led this team to 10 victories when he was running for his life? So, I mean, that's what he's used to. I mean, that's his natural habitat, having to run for his life. So I don't,
Right.
I'm not trying to say it like in a flippant manner, but I mean, offensive lines are going to have busted assignments. They're going to let guys get by. There's going to be pressure on a quarterback. You just feel like you've got two options there, whoever it's going to be starting, that they've been in enough games and they've seen enough things that they know how to get rid of the ball and not make terribly bad decisions that'll shoot them in the foot and really make their team pay for it. I'm more worried about
that's the key, though, right? Wouldn't you say the key is it's those plays? There are going to be times where an offensive lineman just either gets beat or they get confused and a guy runs free. Those can't turn into turnovers. And those are the ones that do a lot of times, like you just throw it up for grabs or you don't see them and it's a strip sack. Those are the kind of things that change the game, and that's what you worry about. It happens. Of course, Virginia Tech's going to have the same thing happen to them too. But will Florida State's defense be able to take advantage and get a pick six or get a tipped interception or get a fumble, a blindside fumble, things like that? I see what you're saying, that DeAndre had to deal with that 2 years ago too. So yeah, I mean, and that offense was still pretty good. It wasn't great, but it certainly had some nice moments. So yeah, I mean, just don't be terrible like it was last year, and maybe you got yourself a good offense.
I'm more worried about the receivers just getting open, getting enough separation. I mean, Nooney's the experienced guy. Keith Gavin, it's his time. Tamorian Terry. I mean, everything we've seen from him, everything we've heard, the breakout season is on the cusp. But I mean, what if he's having, what if he can't handle the pressure? I mean, I'm not even saying the emotional pressure, but what if he can't What if he's jammed off the line every snap, and that knocks him off his game, or he misses a couple blocks when it comes to the run game, and that gets him down? I mean, who knows how he's going to respond to that? I mean, ultimately, I think he's going to have a great year for Florida State, but in the first night, the first game, I mean, who's to say what will happen? So I'm more concerned about the receivers getting open and getting enough separation that DeAndre and James can make throws that might not be absolutely pinpoint accurate, and they'll be able to come down with the catch, because I think the running game will be fine. I think the running game will be just okay. Virginia Tech might sell out from the jump and try to make Florida State throw the ball. I'm sure they probably will, and devote everything they can to slow down Cam and Kalen LeBourne. But I just think that James Blackman and DeAndre Francois have made enough throws that they can get the ball to somebody. Just somebody needs to get open. I'm more worried about that. Now, defensively, maybe we can have Marvin Jones talk about this with us later this week, since he's a linebacker. That's the glaring weakness. I'm not concerned about the inexperience on the back end of the defense, because I think the experience that they have there with like Levante Taylor and Kyle Myers, I mean, relatively speaking, with Hamson, Nasruddin, like they got enough guys back there that'll hold down the fort. Having bad linebacker play, and I don't want to dog these kids, but what does having bad linebacker play in 2018 look like, and what does it cause? That's my concern about that side of the ball.
Wouldn't you think it's a lot of stuff open in the middle of the field? And a lot of run gaps not being filled, and in a run that should have been 6 yards turned into 14 or 17. I think that's kind of what it's going to look like. Again, we'll see. We don't know. I don't know that it'll be worse than it was last year at that position. I just don't. They were not very good at that position last year at all. And I think at least this group with this scheme, they will be aggressive, and they're going to make mistakes, and guys are going to be open. But I also think your linebackers are going to make some plays. They're fast, number one, but I think you're going to get some plays out of them. But I agree. That's when you talk about the question marks on this team, those are the two. Linebackers on one side and offensive line on the other. And I don't even think that that's going to be answered in game one. That's something we won't really know until October.
I wonder if Emmett Rice is going to be available. Should probably ask Willie that later, right? I don't know.
He hasn't. Has he practiced much at all? I mean, I know he's been out there, but how much is he going to play when he hasn't? It doesn't seem like he's practiced a ton.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I think makes this week important in practice in terms of like what we can learn. If we hear that Emmett is out there and he's looking good, that makes me feel a little bit more optimistic, rather than a true freshman and then a redshirt freshman and I don't know, maybe a sophomore in Dontavius Jackson. He's got that tailbone injury. Otherwise, it'll be Adonis Thomas, a guy who's jumped around a couple programs and doesn't maybe quite look to have the size of a thumping linebacker. But I don't know if that's what they're going to need in the scheme. But yeah, linebackers what gives me concern and gives me pause. But I don't know. I think maybe there's enough pressure coming off the edge. There's enough, tight coverage on the outside that hopefully they can be mitigated to a certain degree, and that won't cost them the game. So,
hey man, what are we going to talk about for the next 4 days? We have already analyzed the season opener for this whole show.
We're gonna switch it over. I'm going to be totally skeptical and pessimistic tomorrow, and then you'll be optimistic. You'll say that you're concerned about the receivers, and then I'll start bombing down on the offensive line. And then
what'd you do this weekend? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, actually, we're going to go to the beach, me and the lady friend, but the weather looked like it might be a little bit dicey, so we went to lovely Thomasville, Georgia.
Oh, yeah? Just to hang out in the Rose City? What'd you do? Go to a park or something?
Just went to the little quaint downtown, went to the Big Oak. The Big Oak,
Okay, yeah. Been to the Big Oak. I lived in Thomasville for a year.
Yeah, they took a photo at the Big Oak and went and had shrimp and grits at some spot called Jonah's. It was really good. The shrimp and grits was solid.
That was not there when I lived there. The downtown's a little different than when I lived there. But that sounds fun.
It's thriving.
And so when do we go from the lady friend to the girlfriend? Like, that's a big step. Because lady friend still seems kind of light. Still casual, breezy, taking a little bit breezy.
Yeah.
But girlfriend, that's like slam dunk, coffin shuts, that's official.
Right. I told her
not
that.
to imply that it's a death.
Well,
just saying.
I was at her house last night. My mom called, and I had to speak to my mom in the foreign tongue and be like, I'm at my girlfriend's house. Don't be crazy. I had to put my mom on speaker to figure something out. And she's like, what? She's like, what did you say to your mom? I'm like, I said I was at my girlfriend's house. She's like, oh. And then she's like, I'm like, I don't really like calling you girlfriend though. I'm like, does lady friend bother you? She's like, well, it's kind of weird. I'm like, but I think girlfriend, I feel like I'm in middle school, like high school, but I'm a grown man. So yeah, I don't know. But
yeah, that's weird. And in my position, I had a wife. Yeah. So I went from a wife to back to middle school or high school where I'm calling someone my girlfriend. Right. It is odd. It is odd when you're in your 40s to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know what another word is. I don't like lady friend, and I don't really think they like it either.
Okay.
And I'm talking about ladies.
All right.
So I don't know what the next one is. Significant other, that's a mouthful. That's too many syllables.
Should I just use her name? Just call
You
her,
could, I guess.
just refer to as Kristen.
You could say my woman. I don't think they like that either. They probably don't like my female. There's a lot of things to avoid. Lady friend's probably just kind of middle of the road as far as things they don't like to be called.
All right. Well, if there's anybody out there that has a recommendation, let me know. What about you, man? Is this you? I mean, I don't know how you do this, partner. I mean, you're like legitimate, like father year candidate for me every single time because going back and forth, man, this is crazy. So you're going to be like living on the road. I mean, more so than you have.
Well, yeah, this is what I do. I come back to Atlanta to hang out with my son for half the week, and then Tallahassee for the other half, or I try to. Although football, it's a little harder. And I would say my father of the year candidates would be the ones that are with their sons 100% of the time and not 50% of the time. But that's self-loathing on my part.
Oh, come on, man. The amount of listen, it's one thing if you drive 2 miles to your house and then your kid's waiting for you. It's another thing when you're driving 4 hours and going through Atlanta traffic multiple times a week. So, man, you're self-deprecating.
Hey, I'm trying my best, buddy. I'm trying my best. But yeah, so it's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of miles on the car. But I wouldn't change it for the world, Aslan. I get to do this show with you. I get to write with guys like Ira and Gene and Michael on a great website called warchant.com. I get to see my son some of the time. I get to see my girlfriend and my lady friend. It all works out, buddy. It's all happening. This is going to be the fall of Corey Clark. No, that sounded terrible. The autumn of Corey Clark. The fall sounded like I'm about to
the decline.
It's about to be all over.
No, man, you're going to hit your stride. Oh, but before we go, a shout out to a 5-star Irish O'Fell, our managing editor. So you know how Twitter did a purge like a year ago maybe where a whole bunch of people, famous people, or maybe it was earlier this year, they lost a bunch of followers. It was like bots, fake accounts, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was a few months ago. Yeah, some people lost like 40 or 50,000.
Yeah, they did a second purge a few weeks ago, and I lost about 40 or 50 people myself, and I'm like, dang, that kind of hurts. I mean, I've only got 3,000 over here. You got, I don't know, you and I are just, floating in that high rarefied air. I mean, I'm a
5 figures, baby. Yeah. 5 figures.
So I got like 3,000 and change. I tweeted out a photo about the gentleman who I should have looked up during the commercial break that got yoked up at the 4 Points Hotel during the Jimbo Fisher-Collins show. And our boy Irish O'Fell retweeted it. And I gained like 50-something followers just because Ira retweeted my tweet. People saw that, and they're like, "Oh, all right, let me follow this guy." So Irish O'Fell's a kingmaker.
That's what he does. I guess I haven't retweeted you yet.
No, it's okay. No, I don't need a pity retweet. By the way,
come up with one. Come up with one that's retweet worthy, and I promise I'll help you out. By the way, he has never retweeted anything I've tweeted. So you're already one step ahead of me. I'm positive he's never retweeted anything I've tweeted.
I don't believe you. By the way, the guy's name is
him all the time.
The guy's name is Mike, and he's got a Polish last name, so I'm not going to say it. But his Twitter handle is Tally Tomcat, cat with a K, and Tally Tally. That's the guy. His name is Mike. He's the one that told Jimbo Fisher, what now, and then got roughed up.
Where's your loyalty, Jimbo?
Yeah,
that's what he asked.
Where's your loyalty? Yep. All right, folks.
Mike.
Yeah, we're done. Corey, you want to do this tomorrow?
Let's do it, buddy. It's game week. Let's do this.
All right. We'll do better tomorrow. I'm sure Jeff Cameron will do better than us today. He's coming up at 3. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up with you later.
These recruiting updates are nothing but fluff.
Are you wasting your time again on free blogs and social media to get the scoop on FSU recruiting?
Yeah, it's all bait and switch. Get me excited with a headline, but get nothing in return. You're on warchant.com. What's really going on with FSU recruiting?
Could be another top 5 class, but for the real scoop, you'll need to get your own War Chant subscription.
What's it cost?
Free. There's a 30-day trial offer. Just sign up and you'll get full access through signing day. And nobody has more accurate and timely information on recruiting than warchant.com.
You know I like free. Sign me up. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole source.